Hey guys, welcome to the channel. As you see in the thumbnail, what if Naruto x Boa Hancock x Tashigi x Robin? Before I start, please do support for more awesome content and subscribe my channel and like this video. Go support and follow the JAY3000 for writing that awesome fanfic, and also make sure to comment on this story, link in the description. The pirate ship was flying over the battlefield unbeknownst by the marine or the pirates. It was the ship of the Force Pirates. Ice Age. A figure shouted as it appeared above everyone. Tendrils of ice shot out from the man and touched the waves of seawater, turning them into huge walls of ice. "Kuzan. You brat." Whitebeard muttered as he saw who had stopped his attack. Akoji formed ice spears in the air as he fell towards Whitebeard. "Partisan." They flew towards the aged pirate, but he lazily raised a fist and swung it at the admiral. Before his hand could move very far, it stopped as if it hit an invisible wall. Cracks formed in the air. "Oh my," Akoji muttered as he felt vibrations in the air. His body shattered from the force, and the pieces fell to the ocean. Akoji reformed himself before he hit the water and froze the area underneath him. Ice Age. The ocean froze quickly. Fire at the Mobi. All cannons were pointed at Whitebeard's ship. "Well, isn't this nice and convenient to walk on?" one of the many pirates shouted out. Whitebeard's pirate army left their ships to fight and retrieve Ace back from the marines. But the Shichibukai. The Shichibukai all watched a battle between the marines and Whitebeard from their posts. Bartholomew Kuma watched impassively with a Bible in hand. Unquixote Doflamingo looked excited as he watched the battles rage on. Deco Mariah was in the same state as Doflamingo, except he was marveling at the amount of powerful shadows and bodies he could possibly retrieve. Boa Hancock was worried about Luffy. She could only hope that he was safe at the moment. Dracul Mihik got up on the stone half-wall in front of them. "Fuffi we're going to join into Doflamingo?" asked the man. "This is merely conjecturabit." The swordsman put a hand on the large black sword that rested on his back. "The distance between us and that man." The pirates and marines continued to fight, with no clear advantage being seen. Weapons, manpower all seemed equally matched. Mihik swung his sword and a powerful, green, and rather large gust of wind cut through everyone in its way towards Whitebeard. "It's Hawkeye." The pirates and marines shouted. Kiki Brat Whitebeard himself just smirked as one his most trusted sons stood before the wave. It had been a rather fierce struggle, but eventually the strike was stopped and everyone saw who had stopped it. "No one touches Pop while I'm around," the MN said with a huge smile on his C. "It's 3rd Division Commander, Diamond Jaws." The marines and pirates shouted. A bright shine emerged from above the battlefield. The Asakani no Magatama.The yellow suit shoots lasers at Whitebeard surprised many of them. "Kizaru," the huge man said. The admiral had made his move and the lights got closer to Whitebeard. Dear," he said as if it were a slight annoyance. "That's a little bright," as he squinted his eyes when suddenly someone else leaped in front of him. The beam struck the man and exploded away from Whitebeard. The man covered with blue flames flew above the aged pirate. His body reforming without a scratch and his arms shaped like wings. "And have you taking out the king right off the bat, you know?" the bird-like man told the light man with a grin. "It's 1st Division Commander, Marco." The marine shouted in fear and the pirates with happiness. The Whitebeard pirates. Kizaru's tone was one of amusement. "Sure are scary." Marco continued to grin at the admiral, ignoring the awe that marines and pirates alike held for him. "You got me. You liar." Kizaru replied. "Time to show you how scary we Whitebeard's pirates are," Marco shouted as he flew towards the admiral. "Please don't." Kizaru continued to shoot more beams of light at the Whitebeard pirate, watching as the man transformed into a phoenix. The beams exploded as they collided with his own, but the blue flames healed any damage he sustained. As soon as Marco reached Kizaru, he attempted a kick to the admiral's head. It was blocked by the light man. "Oh. Pretty effective, I'd say." Kizaru smirked at the Phoenix man. Marco just sneered. "You liar." He sent the light man flying towards a building and watched as he crashed into it, creating a large explosion. The marines were shocked that a man of Kizaru's class was sent flying away so easily, but their hopes rose as the man walked out of the wreckage. The admiral dusted his jacket as if he had just gotten a little dirty. "Giant Division. Watch out for aerial attacks," Kizaru ordered in a rare commanding tone. The giant marine troops they had started to advance. When suddenly, a large chunk of ice was thrown at them, courtesy of Jaws. And just as suddenly, a large fist of magma burst through the ice, evaporating it almost immediately. Admiral Sakazuki. The yellow cloak figure got up to leave the room when Naruto appeared before it. "Where do you think you are going?" Naruto asked. "To kill that bastard. He was the one that killed my parents," yellow cloak figure replied. "No, you are not," Naruto said. "But why?" yellow cloak figure replied. "You know why," Naruto said. "But..." Yellow cloak figure was cut off. "Sit down," Naruto said as the yellow cloak figure sit down. The red cloak figure with 2 twin katana on his back started to laugh. The yellow cloak figure turned around to the red cloak figure and said, "Shut up or I will kill you," making the red cloak figure run and hide behind Naruto. The monitor. The Kainu stood where the three admirals were sitting before the fighting. He hadn't even moved from his position. The pirates and marines alike screamed as the magma landed on them. The molten rock tearing and burning their bodies sent them into a slow, painful death. One of the pieces flew towards Whitebeard, but he raised a bacento he had in his hand to block the rock. He brought it to his face and blew the flames out with one breath. "Magma brat, my birthday is next week." The Kainu chuckled, his voice sounding sharp and remorseless. "Too bad you will be 6 feet below by that time, Whitebeard. Go get them, Oars Jr." The pirate shouted. It was all slowed when the ice started to rumble from something big in the distance. "Ace is nice." The voice was loud and booming. It sounded like it had been spoken by a giant, but only bigger. "I won't let him die." Even the giants were shocked by the creature that appeared. "That's descendant of Kunihiki Oars," one of the vice admirals muttered. "That thing's even bigger than a giant." The monstrous giant roared as it took out a blade. "Don't let him into the bay. He'll smash through the lines too quickly." "Ishishishishishi. That body. I want his corpse." Mariah drooled where he stood as he saw Oars Jr. "Huffy me whole body is tingling," Don Flamingo stated as he rushed forward into the fight. "Oars. Don't do this. You'll only end up as a target," Ace was screaming from the scaffold, still bound by his chains. "Don't worry, Ace. I'll be right there." Oars Jr. ignored the pleas of his friend as he picked a battleship up and smashed 2 of the giant marines with it. Oars have opened up a path into the bay. "Everyone. Charge." Whitebeard growled at how Oars Jr. was just taking all the hits. "There's a fine line between being heroic and being suicidal. Old man." The giant called out to his father, "Don't stop me. I want to save Ace." He paused to cut one of the giant marines with his blade. "As soon as I can." A few cannons rang out and explosions covered his arm. "I can see that." Whitebeard shouted back, "Everyone. Go and back Oars up." "Hey, isn't that the pirate empress? She's so beautiful." "Quickly. Oars is distracting them, so take them out." Hancock watched as some pirates fired at her with cannons. Moving quickly, she pulled a heart from her mouth and pulled back on it. "Slave." She let it go, sending forth many arrows toward marine and pirate alike. Arrow. The little pink arrows pierced many on the battlefield, turning all that it touched into stone. The pirate empress avoided the cannonballs flying her way by dashing forward, kicking a man and his sword as she did so. His sword became stone and shattered from her attack, as well as the side of his face. "Perfume femur," Hancock shouted as she spun on one leg, striking everyone near her. The remains of the men scattered around, the marines shocked that she would attack her allies. "Same old Boa-chan attacks anything with a penis," the yellow-headed figure. "Hancock, what are you doing? We are on your side." A captain shouted. "Remember this." Her snake, Salome, coiled beneath her and rose her into the air. She looked so far up, she was looking down at them. "All men are my enemies. She crazy, but damn she's hot." Excluding that one, she muttered quietly, then she looked at the other. "I never attack you, I help you out, remember that." "What? You attack us, yet you expect us to." The marines stopped their outrage as Hancock coyly hid her face from them. "By virtue of my beauty." "Ah. She's just too." The marines all agreed that they couldn't report her to their superiors. The next thing they saw was Oar Jr. had just defeated the giant unit and walking towards Ace when Bartholomew Kuma stepped forward. "White-chan, if you go through that door, I rip off your wings and show you who the demon is," said Naruto, as the white-cloaked figure sat back down, as the rest started to laugh. The monitor. Versus Bartholomew Kuma had been standing on that wall. He had already compressed air into a small paw-shaped bubble. Shock. The bubble exploded when it reached Oars Jr.'s stomach. His sword shattered from the force, and his comrades were sent flying away. The straw hat he had wrapped around his neck fell to the ground. It was light, despite its large size. Oars Jr. remembered how Ace had spent hours making it for him and how the hat had served him well. "Everyone. Fire at Oars," shouted a vice admiral. Cannon fire erupted around him, covering him in explosions. With his vision fading, Oars spotted Doflamingo on the wall. Naruto just put out his hand and said universal pull, and the lavender-cloaked figure was pulled back into Naruto as he wrapped his hand around her and whispered into her ears, "Where do you think you are going, Lavender-chan?" Naruto said as she was sitting in Naruto's lap with his hand around her. "IIWW was going T2T the B bath RR room." She shuddered. "Yeah right," said the figure in a cloak made of paper. "Shut up, Paper-chan," lavender-cloaked figure said while still blushing. The monitor. The Fuffu. Doflamingo floated above the giant and slowly touched the ground behind the large man. Oars Jr.'s leg flew off at the knee. Blood spilled from it like a waterfall, drenching anyone who had been underneath his body. "This is a riot." Doflamingo laughed loudly as he saw Oars Jr. try to lift himself up. He's reached the plaza. The Marines started to panic as they saw Oars Jr. get closer to the platform Ace and Sengoku were on. Just a little more. Oars Jr. rumbled out as he slowly bled out. He continued to crawl towards Ace, then Gecko Moria appeared. "Stop right there, it's not time yet," Naruto said, but Captain the blue-cloaked figure said as her eyes glows, "Your charm won't work on me, beside it is not our time yet," Naruto replied as the blue-cloaked figure sat back down. The monitor. "That stupid Doflamingo. Cutting his leg off when I said I wanted his corpse." A dark figure stood underneath Oars Jr.'s heart. Large bat-like shadow creatures started to rise towards the giant's body. Tsuno Tokage. The shadow creatures tore through the giant's body, coming within a few inches of his heart. Oars Jr. felt his life slipping from him as his hand came within a few meters of Ace. The last thing he saw before his eyes failed him was Ace's pained face. "I'm sorry." Oars Jr. fell to the ground with a large thud, cracking the ground. "Oars?" Ace shouted. Whitebeard watched Oars Jr. fall to the ground. He didn't know if his son was dead or not. "You're wide open, Whitebeard." Glancing to the side, he saw one of the giant Marines approaching him with a large axe. With one swing of his arm, the blade of the axe broke, and he grabbed the giant's face and slammed it down into his quake powers. He made sure the giant wouldn't get up so soon. "Arg!" The giant screamed out before he died, then threw the body off the ship. "Everyone, charge over Oar's body," he ordered to his children. "Naruto crew." "Damn. Whitebeard's cold," said the red-cloaked figure. "Yeah, I wouldn't want to fight against him," said the yellow-cloaked figure. "Don't worry guys, I protect you," Naruto said. "You realize the last time you fought him he destroyed you without waking up," said the lavender-cloaked figure. "Come on Lav-chan, that was several years ago," Naruto said while he pouted. "But you still lost," said paper-cloaked figure as Naruto cried in I'm tears as they all laugh. "You may be old pops, but you still got it," Naruto as he looked at the monitor. "The monitor? The fufu. This is so great." Doflamingo laughed. "What's so funny, Doflamingo?" Many pirates stood around the Shichibukai, attempting to surround the pirate and take him out. "Fufu? What's so funny, you ask?" Doflamingo smiled widely at the pirates. "Why, this feeling at standing at the turning point of an age. Right now, this place is truly neutral." The man he spoke to didn't notice the maniacal glint behind Doflamingo's glasses. 13th Division Commander, Water Buffalo Atmos. A Marine shouted. The Shichibukai lifted on hand, and Atmos felt his body move without his will. "Oh no. Everyone. Get away from me." He begged his comrades to run, but they were too confused. Doflamingo laughed as he watched the division commander cut down his own men. "Pirates are evil, Marines are justice, Lord knows how many times those labels has been passed around." He continued to tell Atmos as he charged even more of his men. "Hey, what's that coming towards us? What in the world? Something's falling from the sky." A large object was falling rapidly towards the battlefield and everyone looked up at it in confusion. "I told you that you were going over the top." Voices could be heard from the object. "It was this idiot's wink that did it. Are you blaming me for this, Croco boy?" As it came closer, all occupants in the war widened their eyes. "Phew, wonder what the ice will look like after we get smashed on it." "Oh. I'm rubber, so I'll be fine." "You're so selfish, Straw Hat." "But Sengoku." "Arp." Sengoku turned quickly in his friend's direction. "Is that another member of your family?" "Oh crap." Garp rose to his feet and held his head in panic. "Luffy. What are you doing here?" "Naruto's crew." "So that is Ace's little brother, I didn't think he would be here," Naruto said. "Wonder if he is as reckless like Ace," red-cloaked figure asked. "Monitor." Crocodile saw his chance. Whitebeard was just standing there, unprotected. It was time for revenge. He crossed the distance in less than a second and watched as his hook approached his foe. "Remember me, Whitebear." The foot kicked his hook away and he flew back. Luffy, with steam coming from his skin and his limbs black, glared back at him. "Straw Hat. I thought we had a deal." Crocodile shouted. "So, this guy is Whitebeard, huh? Well, he means a lot to Ace, so you're not touching him." Luffy stood before the strongest man in the world without a trace of fear on his face. "That's Straw Hat." Luffy looked behind him to see that Whitebeard was looking down at him. The two stared at each other, while the fighting seemed to stop to watch the two pirates. "Are you here to save your brother?" Whitebeard asked. Luffy jumped a little and remembered where he was. "Yeah. I'm here to save Ace." Cool, Whitebeard growled at the rubberman, and everyone thought the younger pirate had a death wish. "Don't you know where you are? You won't be able to do anything by throwing your life off." "Shut up." Luffy ignored Crocodile to glare at Whitebeard. "I going to be the Pirate King," as he raised a hand and pointed at himself with his thumb. "But Naruto's crew. He must have some big balls to talk to Whitebeard like that," said the yellow-cloaked figure. "Or he could be an idiot," Naruto said as they all laugh. "Monitor." "Alright. I'm coming, Ace." Luffy jumped off the Mobi, headed towards the platform where they held Ace. A pleasure meeting you, Whitebeard-san. That brat's Whitebeard smirked. It would be interesting to see what that Straw Hat brat would do. The Marines were crawling all over the place. Luffy dodged several weapons swung at him and used a whip to clear them out of his way. Straw Hat Luffy. Prepare to meet your end. Bartholomew Kuma stood on the wall, still in position, with his Bible pocketed. He was charging a laser in his mouth. The wall exploded and Ivankov, with the rest of the prisoners, began to make their move. Kuma, what are you doing? The Akama King couldn't believe that his friend was capable of not only firing beams from his mouth, but that he would attack Straw Hat Boy. Nice meeting you, Revolutionary Commander Ivankov Doflamingo walked up to the Akama King. Don't you know the world government modified Kuma to be a human weapon? Ivankov would learn that his friend was no more. That he had been modified so much that Bartholomew Kuma was now dead. Stay back, Luffy. Ace screamed at the boy approached the pirate in disbelief. I have my own adventure, my own family. A weakling like you coming to save me, what do you think you can possibly do? Why are you here, Luffy? Cause I'm your brother. Luffy roared back as he ran through the navy when Moria appeared with his zombie solider to stop him, but Jinbei destroyed them with seawater. Luffy, go and save your brother, I will handle Moria. Jinbei said as Luffy ran past him. Thank you, Jinbei. Luffy shouted. Sengoku started talking about Luffy while he was dodging blow from a giant. Ace is not Luffy's real, but an adopted brother who taken in by Luffy's grandfather. Grap Sengoku roared as everybody listened. Luffy's real father is the world most wanted man dragon. Which shocked a lot of them, even Jinbei, but Hancock didn't care. Naruto's cruise. The dragon. We have to go right now and save the kid before he dies or dragon will kill us, red cloaked figure shouted as started to run to the control room. Stop right there, Naruto said. But red cloaked figure said. No buts, it's not time yet, beside I can protect us from dragon, Naruto said. Like the last time, blue cloaked figure said. On, that was 2 years ago, I stronger now, Naruto said as they all laughed at him. Worthless crew, they don't even believe in me, Naruto muttered. I believe in you, Naruto-kun said the lavender cloaked figure. Thank Lav-chan, Naruto replied. Monitor. Straw Hat. A woman wearing glasses stood in their way now. Get out of the way, Tashigi. A jut came from out of the nearby smoke. Slamming the jut into Luffy's face, sending him skidding across the battlefield. Ah. It's you, Smokey. Luffy said as he looked up and saw his old rival. That's Smoker. Smoker shouted as he emerged from the smoke that surrounded them. He had used some fires to cover his approach. I don't have time to play with you. Luffy shouted as steam came off his body. Gum gum gattling. As Smoker flies into the air to dodge the attack. Don't ignore me, Straw Hat. Tashigi roared as he attacked Luffy, only from him to vanished. Where is he? Smoker asked when Luffy appeared in front of him. Gum jet gatling. Luffy's attack hit Smoker, but it wasn't effective. White launcher, Smoker shouted as he attacked Luffy by slamming the tip of the jut into Luffy's neck and they plow into the ground. Smoker pinned Straw Hat. Now it all makes sense, Smoker said over a pinned Luffy. Why dragon saved you, F. How dare you? Was hurt and Smoker was kicked away from Luffy. Hancock stood in front of Luffy, shielding him from the smokeman. That team, I going to kill him, shouted the black cloaked figure as a machine gun appeared in his hand. Easy Black, you get your revenge soon, Naruto replied. Monitor. How dare you touch my beloved like that? Hancock roared in anger. The kick hurt him, but they don't normally do. A confused Tashigi thought. So that hockey? Smoker said to himself. Hancock. Smoker shouted as he raised his juttator, do you mean to a band? Silence. Hancock screamed back. I am filled with such rage that I cannot even hear your words. The pirate empress looked more fearsome than anybody had ever seen her. I will chop you up and feed you to my beast. Hancock. Luffy picked himself up and saw who had helped him out. Hi. Hancock turned to blush heavily at the rubberman. Thanks again. You keep helping me out. Luffy said with a smile on his face. Luffy, you have to keep moving on. I'll take care of this guy for you. Putting her sweet smile back on, she hoped that Luffy would manage to save his brother. Naruto crew. Looks like you lose your chance, Captain, she already taken red cloaked figure. Don't be stupid, Luffy can't handle a woman like that, she will be mine, Naruto replied. You now she will try to kill you the moment she sees you, yellow cloaked figure. I'm sure she has already forgiven me, Naruto replied. You made her hate men even more, paper cloaked figure said. Monitor. Thanks, Hancock. I really owe you. The rubberman hugged her and ran off. He missed how the Shichibukai collapsed to her knees from being overwhelmed by her feelings for him. Naruto's crew. Boy, she has it bad for Straw Hat, yellow cloaked figure said. Yeah, but I thought she hated men, black cloaked figure replied. Maybe he is an exception, paper cloaked figure replied. Maybe you are right, lucky fool, black cloaked figure said. Then he was hit by an invisible force, sending him across the room. Monitor. It then shows Luffy running towards Ace, then he sees Hawkeye with his black sword in his hand. Naruto's crew. Akanomi no Minku, Hawkeye Mihik yelled red-cloaked figure as he pulled out his two twin katana to slash the monitor showing Hawkeye, but it was blocked with a katana with a TS on the handle. Easy there Red, his time will come soon, Naruto said as he pulled away his sword. Yes, Captain Red Cloak figured said as sat back down. You will pay for what you have done to me and my crew, Takanomi no Minku. Monitor. Luffy jumped to the side just as a gust of wind passed by, cutting everything in its way. Ahead, there stood one man Luffy knew he couldn't fight. Dracula Mihik remained where he was. He only looked at where Luffy was. Hoping to use some of the fighters on the field as a shield, Luffy jumped behind some pirates. The rubberman was disappointed to find that his body was cut from the swordsman's skill. It was a testament to the greatest swordsman in the world's skill that he had not cut the pirates. You still remain in my range, Straw Hat Luffy. The man's voice sounded as stoic as ever as Luffy fell to the ground, bleeding. Jimbei walk in front of him, Takanomi no Minku. If you want Ace's brother, then you will have to go through me. Jimbei, Luffy said. Go and save Ace, the fishman replied as Luffy ran off. Son of the sea, Jimbei Takanomi no Minku raises his sword at Jimbei. Fishman karate. Jimbei shouted as went into his stances. Fire. The marine shouted as they fired cannonballs at them. Jimbei shouted arabesque brick fist cannonballs frozen in mid-air by the force of the attack. Takanomi no Minku swung his sword cutting the cannonballs in half, causing the balls explode one at a time. Jimbei shouted, I won't let you touch Luffy-kun, sharkskin palm thrust to block the explosion, no die shark brick fist, as he attacked Takanomi no Minku, who thrust his sword forward to meet Jimbei's fist. As the two meet there was a green energy, and Jimbei was sent flying into the air and crashing down right through the ice floor into the water. Naruto's crew. No. Deep pink cloaked figure shouted as it rushed towards the door but was stopped by Naruto voice. Stop, Jimbei is alright, Naruto said. The but pink cloaked figure was cut off. That attack is too weak to do any real damage, Naruto replied as the cloaked figure sits back down. Monitor. You are in my range, Straw Hat Takanomi no Minku went after Luffy, who was stuck into the wall as he jumped into the air and came down with his sword pointed at Luffy, but Luffy was able to escape just in time to avoid the sword. Luffy, while still in second, was about to attack Takanomi no Minku Gum Gum Jet Bazooka when he suddenly pulled back his hand. Naruto's crew. Shit, that kid was luck, Naruto said. Why is that blue cloaked figure asked. If he didn't he would have lose his hands, Naruto replied. Naruto-kun, did he just use Kenbun-shoku Haki, lavender cloaked figure asked. Yeah, and I believe Takanomi no Minku knows too, Naruto replied. Monitor. Across the battlefield, Crocodile, haha, I will never join you, weak fool. I only work with people at my level, as he laughed, but if you insist then you could be my underling. Doflamingo laughs, phew, for you are a bigger fool than I thought for turning down my offer. Sable's Crocodile shouted in an attempt to blow Doflamingo away. The attack is not confined to Doflamingo, though, as Buggy is accidentally sucked into the vortex as well. Mihik moved his head to the side as a fist came shooting past him. He attempted to cut it, but it had already retracted. He could sense the rubberman's attacks, but Luffy was able to do the same. The two traded strikes, but none connected. Mihik slash cut one of the gigantic ice walls in half. Luffy's fist smashed hundreds of soldiers with just one blow. Luffy gave a tremendous shout, but Hawkeye's never faltered. He had felt willpower equal to, if not, stronger than the Straw Hat captains. The storm was blowing their way and Luffy looked up at it. Mihik took this chance to cut the rubberman in half. Gum jet decoy. He managed to avoid getting cut by replacing himself with Buggy. The man was cut completely in half. Straw Hat. You damn bastard. The man's halves reconnected and he screamed at the rubberman. Damn it. You. He pointed to Mihik, you're Hawkeyes, aren't you? Mihik replied. I'll show you two, ignored Captain Buggy. Buggy shouted as he looked at the swordman Buggy Ball as he shoot a red ball at Mihik, who used his sword to hit back at Buggy. Boom. Mihik noticed that Luffy had escaped. This is not over, Straw Hat Luffy, as he chased after Luffy. Luffy, having finally gotten a break, dashes back towards the platform, not seeing Mihik coming at him. With Marco. Seeing that Mihik was going to attack Luffy again, Marco calls over Whitebeard's 5th Division Commander Vista, I'm counting on you to keep Ace's brother alive. Hi, Vista shouted as he ran over to intercept Mihik, thus saving Luffy. Who are you? Luffy asked his savior. No time to talk, Vista said as Mihik jumped back, go and save Ace. Thanks, old man. Luffy shouted as he ran off. The flower swordsman Vista Mihik recognizes him. It's an honor to recognize by the world's strongest swordman, Vista said with a smile on his face. Mihik had heard of him. Mihik replies by saying only a fool would not have heard of you. Luffy continues to make his way towards the platform. Mihawk comments on how he has the strange ability to make anyone around him an ally, an ability that is the most dangerous in the world, as he slashed swords with Vista. "It's time, cut the feed," Sengoku ordered, so that the civilians would not lose faith in the Marines, as such a tragedy would be too much for them to witness. All they needed to hear after the battle was that we won. Sengoku signaled Sentomaru to begin the Pacifista squad to advance behind the attacking pirates. He had to also order 2 Pacifistas to fly ahead to stop Straw Hat Luffy's approach. The pirate was gaining more ground with each ally that managed to stop anyone's attempts to slow him down. Suddenly, more battleships begin to appear from behind. As the pirates note that they are not allies, Whitebeard, Luffy, and Hancock recognize those on board. Sentomaru has arrived at the battle, backed up by an army of at least 9 Pacifista. Naruto's crew. "Shit, so that what they have been hiding," Naruto said. "You knew about this, Captain," said the black-cloaked figure. "I knew they had created a copy of Kuma, but not that many," Naruto replied. "So that why we have not entered the war yet?" asked the pink-cloaked figure. "That one of the reason," Naruto replied. "You said one of the reasons, that mean you have more reason. What are they?" Paper-cloaked figure. "Well, I wanted to see what their forces can do," Naruto replied. "Now that all of your worries have been proven, are we ready to join the war?" asked a red-cloaked figure. "Not yet," Naruto said. "You have another reason, don't you?" yellow-cloaked figure asked. "Yes, the force tells me that they are trying to trap all of us in a way that we can't escape," Naruto replied. "Do you know how?" asked lavender-cloaked figure. "No, and that's the problem," Naruto replied. Monitor. It showed Sengoku talking in a snail. "Attention all Marine, get off the ice. I repeat, get off the ice." You heard the man fall back. Hawkeye and Vista slashing swords, they were evenly matched. Then Vista jumped into the air and shouted, "Rose, run," and Rose's leaves started to rain down out of nowhere. Impressive Hawkeye, but he kept his cool and swing his sword. "World's strongest slash, destroy the rose leaves and head towards." "So are you?" Vista blocked it with his 2 sword in an X form, then redirected into the air. The Shichibukai turned around to see the Marine retreating, so it's time. He had been informed of Sengoku's plan, and so they were told to be in the courtyard off the ice before it was too late. It seemed like our duel have to cut short as he resheathed his sword and walked towards the courtyard. "Yeah, see you around," Vista replied as he went back to help the others. "What the hell just happened?" shouted black-cloaked figure. "It seems like Sengoku is about to make his move and does want the public to see it," Naruto replied. "So what are we going to do?" Captain White-cloaked figure asked. "Cut their feet and activate the eye in the sky," Naruto replied. "Activating now," shouted paper-cloaked figure as a hatch out at the bottom of the ship, a bird flew out and started descending. "There is a great disturbance in the force," Naruto said as he fell to his knees. "What do you mean, Captain?" asked lavender-cloaked figure running over to him. "Something bad has happened," Naruto replied. "On the battlefield." "Ah, Squad. How's the battle going?" Whitebeard greeted his son as he got up onto the deck of the Moby. Squad, captain of the Maelstrom Spider Pirates, looked a little injured, but relatively okay. His clothes were stained with blood, and his sword had its fair share of the crimson liquid as well. He sheathed the sword and looked his father in the eyes. "They're pushing us hard, but we're gradually gaining ground against the Marines. Those Pacifistas really did a number on our forces. Yes, their weapons are strong. Soon, I'll be joining the fight, so don't worry about a thing, my son." Whitebeard watched as Squad walked in front of him to peer over the side of the ship. "You've always been there for us, Pops." The man sighed and drew the larger sword tied to his waist. "If it weren't for Yaoi, imagine most of us wouldn't have had a reason to live anymore." His father put a large hand on his shoulder. "Everything will be alright, Squad. We'll rescue Ace and all of us will go back home." Squad laughed shakily. He turned to grin up at his father. "Yes, all of us will be going home." Whitebeard returned with a grin of his own. "But Naruto's crew." "Captain, we turn on the monitor now," Paper Cloak said as they turned on the screen. The monitor. Swinging his massive fist to the side, massive cracks formed in the air. The giant walls of ice that had enclosed the pirates into the trap the Marines had caught the Whitebeard Pirate Alliance and exploded with an unreal force, sending large amounts of shards into the air. As it all cleared, the walls that had kept them all in were reduced to nothing, moisture in the air. "If any of you want to leave, you may." Whitebeard addressed his sons with a voice filled with anger. "I will not be ashamed. But if you wish to stay, know this." Whitebeard glared directly at Sengoku. "Stay out of my way." Naruto's crew. Naruto's crew was still shocked to see the power of Whitebeard. He was a monster. "Shit, did you just see that?" Naruto red-cloaked figure shouted. "That not what I looking at. How did Pops get that stab in his chest?" Naruto asked as his anger rises as everybody started to float in the air. "Naruto-kun, please calm down or you will destroy the ship," yellow-cloaked figure shouted. "You will get your revenge on the fool who did that," shouted paper-cloaked figure trying to calm down Naruto. Then they all came crashing down. "Thank Kami," they all thought. "We are entering the war now," Naruto shouted. "Aye," Captain Lavender Cloaked replied as she prepares the ship to descend. "Aye, Whitebeard," Vice Admiral John Giant shouted, thinking he could kill a weakened Whitebeard. Shavy as he vanished and appeared behind Whitebeard. John swing down his sword on Whitebeard, who block it with his weapon. "You're in my way," Whitebeard told him as he easily push away the giant's sword, making John lose his balance. Then Whitebeard drop his weapon and grab the air around him, making everything spin, and I mean everything. Then an earthquake shook up the place, making every fall, then the whole island. The sea started to tilt, thus destroying some buildings, the ice split, and a great tsunami came carrying a navy ship with it, crashing it down on other ships. Fufu Doflamingo laughed like a madman seeing the destruction around him. "Damn bastard," John Giant attacking Whitebeard again as he swing his sword down at Whitebeard. Too slow, brat. Whitebeard was too fast for him and jumped into the air and punched John in his stomach with his left fist coated with his DF power, sending a shock wave through the giant's stomach and destroying everything it met and head toward Ace, but suddenly it was deflected by the three admirals. Luffy had ignored how the Marines had retreated from the ice to fortify the walls that barred his way. As soon as the rubbermen reached the walls, they rose high into the air. Unbeknownst to Luffy, walls had surrounded the entire bay that had been frozen by Aokiji before the war broke out. The only ones left on the ice was the Whitebeard Pirate Alliance, the pacifistas, and some stranded Marines that were unable to make it back to the mainland. In a rage, Luffy pounded his fists against the walls, unable to do more than to dent the thick metal obstacle. Magma started pouring down Akanu's hand. He shouted Ryus Akazan Meteor Volcano as he started lava into the air. Naruto's crew. "Don't worry guys, it won't even touch us," Lavender Cloaked figure said up. "Everybody mind at ease." Monitor. Giant magma fist came raining down, destroying everything it touches, ship and pirates. As the fist rained down, it also melted the ice too, forcing the pirates back. As they turned back, they met up on some pacifistas who attacked the pirates, then a magma fist at the Mobi, destroying it. Naruto's crew. "How far are we?" Naruto shouted. "Still too high for us to jump from. Give me 10 minutes, Lavender replied. "Make it 5 minutes now guys, are you ready?" Naruto said. "Hi," they all shouted. "Red, when we land you will have Mihawk." He started, then he turns to black cloaked figure. "Do you have Smoker and any pacifistas?" Naruto said, then he turns to lavender cloaked figure. "Do you have Doflamingo?" Naruto said, then he turns to white cloaked figure. "Do you have Kuma?" Naruto said, then he turns to blue cloaked figure. "Do you have Moria?" Naruto said, then he turns to pink cloaked figure. "Pacifistas and any vice admirals that attacks you?" Naruto said, then he turns to paper cloaked figure. "Do you have Kizaru?" Naruto said, then he turns to yellow cloaked figure. "I know you want Akainu, but you know the reason you can't, so you will have Akiji," Naruto said. "I will take care of Akainu. You will only engage them on my command," Naruto replied. "Yes, Captain." They all shouted. "Now it's time to get this show on the road," he said as they continued to descend. Monitor. The Marines were planning on eliminating all enemy pirates as they were trapped in the walls, but Oars had foiled that plan. They then changed to intercept and catch the pirates in a bottleneck around the opening. Concentrating all fire on the opening would eliminate most, if not all, of enemies that would dare cross that path. They didn't expect a torrent of water to leap over the wall and crash into the earth of Marineford, depositing the one riding the current. Monkey D. Luffy, captain of the Straw Hat Pirates, stood hunched over in the middle of the most elite Marines the world government had to offer, holding a broken mast. All three admirals stood behind the group, prepared to defend any attacks that would reach the execution platform. With a mighty roar, Luffy felled every Marine around him except for the admirals. "You certainly are a bold one," Akainu snorted derisively, Dragon's son. "Jesus, isn't this stage a bit too much for you, Straw Hat?" Aokiji looked less than pleased as he let loose another sigh, his breath forming a little mist. "You certainly are a scary one, Straw Hat," Luffy Kizaru drawled out slowly as he grinned at the pirate captain. Luffy's eyes settled on the admirals as he let out a low growl. Naruto's crew. Suddenly Naruto got a vision and got up and started running to the escape pad. "Shit, they going to kill Ace," Naruto shouted. "Naruto, we are still too high," yellow cloaked figured shouted, but Naruto didn't listen. "Here on into an empty pad and turn it on." "Shit, lavender faster," paper cloaked figured shouted. "Hi," lavender cloaked figure replied as they descend faster. Marine Ford. The rubberman jumped into the air, swinging the large mast towards the three powerful enemies in his way. With a quick touch from Aokiji, it froze in midair. Undeterred, Luffy kicked at a speed that was too much for many of the soldiers, with a cry of stamp gatling. Equally unfazed, the frozen mast pieces passed through the admirals. They had been a little unprepared when Luffy touched the ground, his legs compressing and decompressing as he rose to shoot past them. In a flash, Luffy covered most of the distance between him and Ace. Luffy saw Ace's eyes widen as he realized how close Luffy was approaching the platform. "Sorry, but you're far too slow." Looking to his left, Luffy saw Kizaru poised to kick him in the face with a kick charged with his light powers. Instantly, the rubberman found himself crashing into one of the many buildings that lined the coast of Marineford. Prepared to execute the prisoner. Shocked, Luffy pulled himself from the rubble to see the two executioners that stood near Ace drop their blades upon their prisoner. Ace was about to be executed when suddenly a giant handprint appeared in the ice a few feet in front of Whitebeard, crushing a few Navy soldiers, causing everybody to freeze in shock. "Hey Sengoku, I hope that not who I think it is," Garp said to him as he saw what had just happened. "I hope not, he is supposed to be dead," Sengoku replied as he saw the handprint in the ice. "Yeah, we can't afford another powerhouse," Garp said. Cuckoo, that shocked everybody who heard that laughing before, but none was more shocked than Ace and Akainu as they saw a figure landing. "Shit, can't, you are supposed to be death," shouted Akainu, then the figure took off his cloak so that everybody could see his long red hair, like Zane from Yu-Gi-Oh! GX, and face, the same thing that Dark Zane wears in Yu-Gi-Oh! GX, with his 3 katanas strapped to his back, then suddenly he pointed a finger towards Ace. But Ace. The 2 guards that were about to execute Ace was sent flying off the platform, which shocked everyone on the battlefield, momentarily stopped and stared at the miracle. WWH, what? "You can't be Naruto, you're supposed to be dead," Ace just shouted as he looks at Naruto. The admirals went wide-eyed, Garp choked in surprise, and Sengoku became ghost white. The Shichibukai of past and present all reacted differently. Gecko Mariah went wide-eyed in fear and started to tremble. Doflamingo started laughing like an idiot. Jinbei had a small smile on his face. Crocodile was scared shitless. Boa Hancock had light blush as she remembered her Luffy-kun until she saw Naruto when her anger started to form. Kuma remained expressionless. And Mihawk started charging up his sword, and the fire rages in his eyes. It scared some people. But the pirates. Among the pirates all was silent until a deep booming laugh was heard through the battlefield. Everyone turned to look at the source and was shocked to find it was Whitebeard. "Rara, I should have known you were dead, brat." Whitebeard laughed. "Ooh, what's going on?" an oblivious Luffy asked. "That Luffy-kun is a game changer," replied Jinbei. Whitebeard said, also grinning, "Ladies and gentlemen, pirates and marines, he is indeed alive, the living force Uzumaki T Naruto." As Whitebeard shouted out the Naruto's name, it sent a shock wave of panic throughout the navy. "Should not the living force our doom," said a navy soldier. "I thought he was dead," said another navy soldier. "But admirals." "No matter, I will kill him again," Akainu said. "This just got more troublesome," Aokiji said. "Boy, he looks scarier than the last time," Kizaru said in a laid-back voice. "But Ace. That can't be Naruto, I saw him as he fell into the sea." Ace thought was cut short because of the scene. "With Naruto." "Cuckoo, thank for the intro, pops, it's good to be back," Naruto shouted, then a few cloak figures fell from the sky behind him as everyone was wondering who they were. Naruto looks around as his eyes met Hancock and blown her, he could see the anger in her face, and if looks could kill he would be dead 10 times over. The mono sleeve hammer Naruto was sent flying back a few feet as his crew rushed towards him. "Are you alright, Captain?" asked red cloaked figure. "I'm fine, but I deserve that," Naruto said as he got up to see who had hit him. "Hina-chan, what up?" Naruto said. "Don't Hina-chan me, you cheat on Hina with her best friend," Hina said. "Yes, that definitely," Naruto said as everybody sweat-dropped, wonder why they fear this guy. Suddenly Naruto dodged a strike from his sword, but he got caught with an uppercut and then the back of his sword to his stomach, sending him to the ground. "I deserve that one too," Naruto said as he got back up again. "Tashigi-chan, you are here too," Naruto said. "Don't call my name, you team, you sleep with that slut Hina the same day you slept with me," Tashigi yelled. "Hina is no slut, you bitch," Hina replied as the two started to fight as Naruto take his time and move away from them without them noticing, but as Naruto walk away a giant fist crashed down on him, pounding him down into the ground. "You team, you will paid for leaving me," said Sandy, the unnamed female giant in the giant unit, as his crew run to him forcing Sandy to leave. "Let me guess, you deserve that one," said the black cloaked figure. "No, that's the only one I don't deserve," Naruto said. "That bratty never learned," said Whitebeard with a smile on his face. "So the rumor about him being a legendary ladies' man was true, but I still wonder how did he have with that giant?" Marco asked, was the question that is on everybody's mind. "Damn. How did you have with her? She is like 10 times your size," red cloaked figure asked as everybody tried to listen for Naruto's answer. "Let's just say I used the force," Naruto replied as his nose started to bleed, then everybody look at Sandy who had a blush on her face, then Naruto dodges a sword. "Vice Admiral Doberman, long times no see, still sporting the scars I gave you," Naruto said as Doberman growled at him. "They make you looks more handsome." "You will pay for sleeping with my wife," Doberman shouted. "Oh, Katsaya-chan, she had one of the tightest I ever felt, I thought she was until she told me she was married to you and had 3 daughters my age at the time," Naruto said as both Navy and pirates alike started to laugh. Unknown location. "Mom, I can't believe you cheated on Dad with the living force," said Saya. I couldn't resist him, look how hot he is and all that power, Katsaya said while having a mini orgasm. Yeah, you are right, so how was he in the sack? Samui asked. Let's just say I couldn't walk for days, Katsaya replied as blood came out of her nose. Damn. So when can we meet him? Asked Joe. You are not going to meet him, beside you girls couldn't manage that monster, Katsaya replied. We can manage anything you can, old lady, Samui said. What did you call me? Katsaya asked as a tick marks appeared on her face. Then nothing, Samui shuddered. Anyway, are you sure you want to meet him? Katsaya replied. Yes we are, Saya said. Are you really sure? Katsaya said. Yes we are really sure, Cho said. Are you really sure? Katsaya said. Yes we are. They all shouted. Fine, you don't have to yell, just make sure you can handle the size, Katsaya replied as she showed them the length and width with her hands, which caused the girls to be blown back with nosebleed. 5 minutes. Mom, how did you manage that monster? Saya asked. Trade secret, Katsaya replied. Then the 3 girls started ing her feet. Please teach us, they all yelled. With Naruto. Doberman swung his sword at Naruto, but Naruto dodged and waved his hand in front of Doberman's face. I am not the guy you are looking for, Naruto said. You are not the guy I'm looking for, Doberman replied. You are looking for Vice Admiral Momonga, Naruto said. I'm looking for Vice Admiral Momonga, Doberman replied as he turned around and rushes over towards Momonga and attack him. Momonga, you're dead, I can't believe you slept with my wife, Doberman yelled. What, I never touch her, Momonga said as he cross-sword with Doberman. With Luffy. Hey Jinbei, what just happened, Luffy asked. Luffy-kun, that what Naruto called GD mind trick, it allows him to manipulate a person's mind, Jinbei replied. So Colonel. Luffy said with stars in his eyes. With Naruto. Naruto was about to charge the bay when a powerful green wave came at him, but Naruto just stood there and laughed as the wave got closer and closer until the red cloaked figure stepped in front of Naruto and shouted as he pulled his 2 twin katana and shouted, flare up now. Naruto was about to charge the bay when a powerful green wave came at him, but Naruto just stood there and laughed as the wave got closer and closer until the red cloaked figure stepped in front of Naruto and shouted as he pulled his 2 twin katana and shouted, flare up now. Now. Flare up now. The 2 attacks collide, causing an explosion. I can't believe that the most powerful slash in the world was stopped again, said a Navy Solider as everybody looks on in shock, and all, even Hawkeye. The smoke cleared. The cloak that Ryo was wearing had burned off, revealing him and his armor. Check my profile page to see the Amaur, to all of the onlookers with a smirk on his face. It's the former captain of the Wildfire Pirates, Ryo of the W Wild F Fury, Navy Solider shouted. So those are the famous twin swords of his, said an emotionless smoker. Yes, but they are no ordinary sword, those are the sword of Wildfire, or Reka-ken. They are 2 of the 12 highest grade swords in the world, they draw their power from the fire around it, Tashigi said. Exactly. With Ryo. Hawkeye, it's being a while, Ryo said with a smile on his face. Ryo, I thought I killed you, Hawkeye replied in an emotionless voice. You almost did, you killed my crew instead, now it's time for my revenge, Ryo growled as he charged, his twin swords colliding with Hawkeye's black sword. They held, using their strength to push each other away. Ryo withdrew, before twirling his swords and colliding again with Hawkeye's weapon. Hawkeye frowned. It seems that you haven't learned anything from our last fight, Hawkeye. Hawkeye, using his superior strength, raised Ryo's sword with his own, then pushes him off with great force. Ryo flew through the air, backflipping and landing like a cat on the ground. He didn't have time to recover as Hawkeye came at him swiftly with the sword. Ryo dodged Hawkeye's precision slashes and stabs, parrying when he had the time to. Ducking under a swipe at his head as he continued to backpedal, Ryo frowned. Shit, I'm on the back footy a lot stronger than the last time we fought, Ryo, sparing a glance around him. The quick glance was picked up by Hawkeye, drawing forward and slashing the abdomen of Ryo as a small cut appeared on his armor. Shit, that was close, Ryo muttered. Kaku no Jutsu, muttered Ryo as a massive fireball came out of his swords. Hawkeye eyes widened, rolling to the left to dodge the fireball. As soon as he had rolled, he was met Ryo's swords. However, Hawkeye ducked under Ryo's slash. Ryo then drove his swords at Hawkeye's face, but he dodges, then suddenly Ryo attacks again and Hawkeye blocked it, then Hawkeye received a kick to his stomach which sent him flying. Seeing what had happened to Hawkeye sent shockwave throughout the battlefield, no one could believe what he or she was seeing. He managed to hit Hawkeye, how strong has he become, said a Navy Solider. Shit, if all those cloak figure is as strong as Ryo, we are more trouble than we thought, Sengoku growled. That caught me by surprise, he is using those underhanded tactic that Naruto used to defeat me, but this time I'm ready for them. Hawkeye. With Naruto. Looks like he is using what I taught him, Naruto said, then he turns to the rest of his crew, you guys know what to do, and remember the force will be with you, always. Aye Captain, they shouted as they scattered. With Lavender Cloak figured. As she made her way toward Doflamingo, she was attacked by some Navy Solider. Pirate, he shouted as he attacked her, but she dodges and a couple of palm thrusto his chest sending him flying into the others. Then more Solider tried to attack her in a group, but she backflip shouted. 8 trigrams 32 palms white cloaked figure said, killing all of them. More came at her as she danced her way around their punches and sword. Then she shouted Rotashon as a dome came over her and started to spin, sending all the Solider away. Then she turned to him. Now it's your turn, she said. You can always try, Doflamingo said, then started laughing. Then he started moving his finger. She jumped into the air and a navy that was about to attack her from behind was cut to pieces. Can she see my attack? No. The only one person that could see my attack is dead Doflamingo while he is laughing on the outside. You have to do better than that, she replied as she landed then charged towards him while dodging his invisible attack. As she got closer and closer, she delivers a palm thrust to the stomach of Doflamingo, sent back a few feet as he spit blood. That proves that she can see my attack, then that means that she is Al of Doflamingo Fufu. It seemed that you somehow survived that flight I gave you, he said. So you remember me now, you die for kill my mom and Fuka, she said as she throws off her cloak revealing herself. It's the former navigator of the Flying Hyuga Pirates, the warrior Princess Hinata Hyuga, shouted a navy soldier in fear. But White Cloak figured. As she head over to Kuma, she was attacked by some Solider as she dodges them and defeated them with kicks and punches. You're not escape us, pirate, the Solider shouted as he attacked her with punches as she dodges them, then swift kick to head sending him flying into the others. Who's next, she said as they all started to take a step backward. Don't be afraid of it, it's a nobody, said a captain. He's right, bazooka unit attack, a Solider shouted as they fire at her, but she dodges it by jumping into the air. Then an unnamed vice admiral appeared behind her. Shava shouted as the attack was about to hit. He heard something that shocked his very soul. Satan soul takeover as her wing came allow her to dodge, then a thunderous kick sending the vice admiral down to earth. The transformation destroys the cloak revealing Marahin. The former leader of the soul sibling T the D demon, Mira shouted the soldiers. Darkness stream, Mira said as shadowy hands shoot out from her and attack the soldiers killing them. Then she turned to Kuma. You team, you will pay for what happened to my family, Mira shouted as her angry rose, while Kuma still had an emotionless expression on his face. Soul extinction, Mira shouted as a dark sphere started to form, then a large powerful beam of energy shoot out at Kuma. Add cannon, Kuma said as the two attack cancel out each other. But Blue Cloak figured. The group of Navy soldiers suddenly surrounded the Blue Cloak figure as 2 wings and claws appeared and as the figure started to transform, thus destroying the cloak revealing Kurumu. It's the former hypnosis of the monster pirate, the succubus Kuruma shouted a pirate. Don't look into her eyes, a Solider shouted. 2 later a number of Navy looked into her eyes already. Charm said as she did a Y pose as heart appeared into their eyes. Darlings, could you please kill each other for me, she said in a seductive voice as the soldiers started killing each other. Then she turned to some pirates and charmed them too, then ordered them to attack Jekko as they attack him, distracting him. She flew as fast as she could and caught him off guard with a kick to the face that sent him crashing into the wall. But Black Cloaked figure. He was running towards Smoker when a pacifistas appeared before him and shooting laser beams out of his mouth and hand. As he dodges them and jumps into the air, a beam shoot out of his face, destroying the pacifistas. Who the hell is this guy, Navy Solider asked. Your worst nightmare, the cloak figure replied as guns started to appear on both of his hands. Widespread bullets, Cloak figure said as the bullets scatter all over the place killing the soldiers. Suddenly he heard White launcher and saw Smoker coming at him. Bullet Barraja said as the bullets went through Smoker. Fool, you bullets don't work on me, Smoker said as he attacks the cloaked figure, but the cloaked figure dodges all his attack. Smoker, long time no see, the cloaked figure said as he fired at Smoker again. You can say the same thing, I thought I killed when I sank that ship, Smoker replied. You almost did, now time to pay, he said with a smile on his face. Bring it on, Machine Gun Joe, Smoker replied as Joe took off his cloak. Why you mean Machine G Gun J, Joe the famed marksman of the Death Pirate replied a pirate. But Yellow Cloak figure. Boy, am I luck there is no handsome men here, I hate killing them, Yellow Cloaked figure said. She was surrounded by Navy soldiers, then they started attacking her, but she dodges their attack with little effort, then jump on her hands and started spinning and kicking away all the soldiers. Her fighting style is like the pirate Empress at a Solider as he receives a kick to his face. Yellow Cloak figure was kicking their asses when another foot met with her, it the pirate Empress Bo Hancock. Who are you and how do you know my fighting style? Hancock asked with venom in her voice. But Naruto. Naruto look on as he watches the war around, then he saw a pirate and grab him. Who did that to Whitebeard? Asked an angry Naruto pointing to the stab wound on Whitebeard's chest, the pirate nearly soiled himself. IW was Squad, he stuttered, then Naruto throw him away and search for Squad. Bansham T and apostrophe I and universal pull, Naruto said, and scored was pulled toward Naruto outstretch hand as his connect to score throat, he slam him into the ice and reach for TS when his hand touched the sword, another hand stop him. Stop Naruto, don't kill him, Whitebeard said gently. But pops, he tried to kill you, Naruto replied as his anger rises. I know, but I already forgive him, Whitebeard said. Then you are a fool, then Naruto shouted. That shock everyone, expect Marco that someone but an admiral dare to call Whitebeard that to his face. I know I'm a fool, he is still one of my sons, Whitebeard replied. Whatever, Naruto said as he let go of Scored and walked away until he was far away from Whitebeard. But Naruto. Move out of my way or die, Naruto said. Don't back down guys, justice will always win, said a captain as they all attack him. Fools, Shinra TNSEI almighty push, Naruto replied as the force of his attack sent them flying all over the place, killing some of them and destroying some buildings. Troublesome, his power has just like Whitebeard, Aokiji said as he appeared in front of Naruto. So the famous blue pheasant decided to grace me with his present, Naruto said with a smirk on his face. You will regret facing me, I spear, Aokiji said as the spear came at Naruto, but the smirk never left his face. Nova Shieldva said as the ice melt as it touched the shield, then the shield came down revealing the Mei as her yellow cloak melted her. Its former Kuja pirates, the of death Mei Titarumi, shouted the pirates with heart in their eyes. How about Aokiji, Kunmei said in a seductive voice. Nova says the S hit Aokiji, melt him as he turned to water and fall to the ground where he reformed himself as Mei went after him. So she did betray us for that man, Hancock said with a tear in her eyes. But Naruto. Suddenly a bright light blinded Naruto and a man in a yellow suit appeared. So we meet again, yellow monkey, Naruto said as he shielded his eyes. See, you are still bright as ever. You know, living force, you remain of my late partner, Kizaru said as he elongates the last word of his sentences. How you same something, Naruto replied in the same manner as Kizaru. Famous last words, scared string of jewels, Kizaru sighed as beams of light rained down at Naruto. Naruto, ace shouted. Naruto just put up his two hands and the light started bouncing of his invisible shield and destroying anything around him. Have you ever been kicked at light speed before? Kizaru asked from behind him. Should I forgot how fast he was, Naruto. Yes, but have you ever been kicked by a giant paper foot before? Kizaru did not get a chance to reply because he was kicked by a giant paper foot. Naruto-sama, is you alright? Conan asked. I find Conan-chan, Naruto replied. So the paper mistress is still alive, Sengoku. Where hell are these death people coming from as he destroy a wall next to Garp's head? Who knows, Garp replied. But Naruto. Naruto continue his way towards Ace when he heard. Magma fist. Naruto turned to his right to see the fist coming at him. Suddenly some Navy soldiers felt themselves being drawn in between Naruto and the magma fist. As the fist collided with men, they scream in pain as they were being burned alive. You think that will stop me? Akainu shouted as he poured some more power in the attack, melting their bodies. Naruto jumped into the air to avoid his attack. The red puppy dog, nice to see you again, Naruto said as many of the pirates and Navy soldiers started to laugh. That pissed Akainu off even more. Team Dai Funka, great eruption, Akainu shouted as the attack came at Naruto. Naruto coated himself with the force and started spinning downward toward Akainu and the attack. Looks like the living force has gone crazy, said Luffy. Said no, he is not. The power of the force fruit allow him to going into almost anything and survive just by covering himself with it, Jinbei replied. Company all, Luffy shouted as his eyes sparkles. But Naruto spins through the attack and Akainu leaving a hole in his stomach. That won't hurt me, Akainu said. I know, Naruto said as he coated his fist with haki and delivered an uppercut to his chin, sending him crashing into a building. Damn, that felt good, Naruto said as he looked around for his crew. They were doing good so far until his eyes landed on Ryo. Shit, Naruto said as he ran toward Ryo. With Ryo. Ryo was on the ground breathing hard, his armor covered in stretches as Hawkeye walked towards him. You have gotten better, but you are still no match for me, Hawkeye said as he brought down his sword. I guess this is it, sorry guys, Ryo when a sliver blade stops Hawkeye's sword. Flashback. The black hair and blue eyes boy about 17 years old, he was wearing a red sweater with a white collar, blue jeans, and sneakers, was walking up to a temple when he stopped when he saw a shadowed figure at the door. So the White Blaze final chose a successor, said the shadowed figure. How do you know the White Blaze? Ryo asked. I was his teacher and you have the same fire that he had. Now follow me, said the shadowed figure as he walked into the temple as Ryo followed him. As they enter the temple, Ryo saw 4 other guys about his age. One of them had auburn hair and blue-green eyes. He was wearing a blue and white hoodie over a striped shirt, light-colored pants, and sneakers. Ryo walks over to him and introduces himself to the boy. My name is Ryo, what's yours? Ryo asked, then the boy bowed to him. Nice to meet you, Ryo-san, my name is Mauri Sai, Sai said politely as Ryo was about to answer when the others started to walk over. One of them had dark blue hair and blue eyes. He wears a golden headband across his forehead, a yellow t-shirt, light-colored pants, and sneakers. "My name is Kento Reifuen," Kento said. The second one had blue hair and blue eyes. He wears a royal blue sweater with a bright green collar, light-colored jeans, and dark shoes. "My name is Rowan Hashiba," Rowan said. The last one had wild blonde hair and pale purple eyes. He wears a yellow shirt, deep blue jacket, tan pants, and brown shoes. "My name is Sage Date," said Sage as Ryo was about to ask a question when he was cut off. "Guys, pay attention. I know you are all wondering why you are here. You are here because you have been chosen to carry on your family legacy, even if you don't know them," said the shadowed figure. "Do we have a choice in the matter?" asked Rowan. "Yes you do, you can either stay or go," replied the shadowed figure. "Tell us who you are first," Ryo said. "But you will learn in time, but I do go by the name Ancient One," the Ancient One replied. "I will stay," Ryo said. The rest of them agreed. 1 and 2 years later. During the first year they did physical exercise to build up their stamina and endurance, then they each chose different weapons, wooden, to practice with. Ryo chose 2 katanas, Kento chose a staff, Rowan chose a bow, Sage chose a sword, and Sai chose a trident. They even learn each other backstory like how Ryo's mother passed away when he was very little. His father is a famous pirate who has usually caused trouble for the navy, so he was not there for him. Fortunately for Ryo, his father would send money to cover living expenses. Ryo has lived in a log cabin in the East Blue for most of his life, but it is very far away from the city islands, and he has to walk 9 miles every day just to get water. Sage is descended from Date Masamune, a famous Navy vice admiral who killed many pirates. They call him the One-Eyed Dragon because he only had one eye. Even though both of his parents are alive, Sage's grandfather was responsible for his upbringing. Sage's father is a member of the Navy, a captain and a kendo practice. Sage has 2 sisters. His older sister, Yaoi, teases him greatly and is the reason he has trouble communicating with girls. His younger sister, Satsuki, is more laid-back than her older siblings are. Sai is descended from Mauri Motonari, who was a famous Navy vice admiral in South Blue. His family's duty was to protect the sea, and so each member of the family was well acquainted with the sea. Sai's father died when he was very young, leaving him to be raised by his mother and sister Sayoko. Unfortunately, his mother has a very weak heart. Kento's ancestors immigrated from the North Blue to the east. His family is part of a clan of many different families under the leadership of an elder known as grandfather. Kento will take over as clan leader when he retires. The Reifuens are very prosperous. Kento's father, Chan Run, owns a restaurant in Chinatown Island that has expanded and become a chain restaurant. His mother, being a master, taught him Chinese kung fu from an early on. Kento has 4 younger brothers and sisters. There is a 10-year age difference between Rowan's parents, his mother having been only 18 when she had him. His father, Junichiro, is a scientist who specializes in physics and astronomy. The mad scientist type, he never leaves his lab, which is unknown. Rowan's mother, on the other hand, is a bit of an airhead. She is an international journalist. They divorced when Rowan was 12. Years 3 and 4. This was the year they would receive their amowers. Guys, you will have to go out and find your own way to get your amour. I cannot help you accomplish that, I can only train you how to use it. Now go, the Ancient One said. Aye, they all shouted. Ryo was the first one to come back. He had received his amour when a group of Navy started a village fire in order to lure out pirates, but ended up getting trapped themselves. Ryo tried to stop the fire and save everyone including the Navy soldiers, despite the fact that they threatened to shoot him when he tried to stand up to them. The kanji for Jin appeared on his forehead and he somehow managed to absorb the flames. The fire created the undergear for the wildfire armor, and his 2 wooden katana become twin katanas, the swords of Wildfire or Rekaken. Then Sai arrived. He had gone home and started reading the ancient documents kept by his family and discovered the existence of the torrent armor. It was a tradition that the males of the Maori family, as a rite of passage into manhood, would dive into the sea near their home. Despite the sea being deep, Sai was able to reach the bottom without using an oxygen tank. He found the armor at the bottom of a crevice and, with the help of his orca friend Suki, retrieved it. His trident became a yari, a combination of a trident and a mankature, and a tanto dagger appeared behind the right shoulder. Then Kento arrived. He had went home to his grandfather, who had decided to test Kento to see if he was worthy of possessing the amour. During that time Kento, Rinfi, and Yun got permission to visit the family resort where all the family treasures are stored. Several of the treasures were broken while they were looking around, but whether it was the fault of Kento's siblings or by the old woman who joined them on their journey is unknown. Either way, Kento intentionally broke a few of the treasures himself in order to take the fall. This allowed Kento to pass the test, and the armor of Hard Rock appeared before him and his staff became Tetsubo, iron bow, with an Ajanata blade on one end. Other times, it takes the form of a 3-joint nunchaku. Rowan went home, and while he was researching ancient history, Amaura and strategy, Rowan first discovered a legend that his father's side of the family had once had an armor, but it had been lost long ago. He created many different formulas to help him analyze the data, but he still could not fully understand it. By coincidence, his mother dropped by for a visit and was able to help him figure out that he needed to go to Amenhashadate. Rowan went during his time to the site and received the Strata armor. Sage was the last to arrive. As he went home, Sage was challenged by a famous kendo practitioner by the name of Kazumatsu Shingo. Sage's grandfather forced him to accept the challenge. When it became apparent that he was going to lose, Shingo threw something into Sage's eyes. However, with his right eye covered by his hair, it was unaffected. Furious, Sage committed a breach of etiquette and knocked off Shingo's face protector, as well as causing Shingo to fall unconscious. Sage's grandfather was furious and, as punishment, sent him down to the basement. No one had seen what Shingo had done, and it was not until he woke up that the truth came out. By drawing shame to himself, Sage had saved Shingo, for his actions could have caused him to be banned from kendo forever. In the end, Sage's time in the basement was well spent, for it was here that he found the armor of Halo, and his word became a no-dachi blade with a shuriken at its hilt, called the Korin Ken. So you all have achieved your Amaura. Now tell what the entire Amaura has in common, the Ancient One asked. All of us Amaura draws their power from a specific element: air, fire, water, earth and lighting. Rowan. Very good, now this where the real train started, and with your new Amaura comes new name, said the Ancient One as he turns to Ryo. Your new name is Ryo of the Wildfire. Then he turns to Sai. Your new name is Sai of the Torrent Suko no Shin. Then he turns to Kento. Your new name is Kento of Hardrock Kongo no Shu. Then he turns to Sage. Your new name is Sage of the Halo, Korin no Seiji. Then he turns to Rowan. Your new name is Rowan of the Strata Tinku no Toma. Now let the training begins, shouted the Ancient One. Flashback end. DRM Shine, Naruto said as the light blinded Hawkeye. Then Naruto gave him a swift kick to his stomach, then sent Hawk crashing into some Navy soldiers. Ryo, what are you doing? I thought you made a promise to your friends, Naruto said as he looks at Ryo. You're right, Naruto, Ryo said. Then Naruto jumped away as Hawkeye was getting up. But Naruto. As Naruto landed, Navy soldiers surrounded him. Do you guys ever give up? Naruto replied. Justice never gives up, shouted a Solider as they all attack him. Fools, Naruto said as he raises his hands, and they all started to choke, then they fall to the ground dead, while the other Navy Solider looks on in horror. As Naruto walks away, he stopped when he saw Hancock turning Navy and pirate to stone. He vanishes in a burst of speed, appeared behind Hancock, and warps his hand around her, then squeezes her wonderful S. Miss me, Han-chan, Naruto whispered into her ears, then suddenly a foot connected to his ball that made him buckle over and scream out in pain. How dare you touch me again, Uzumaki, Hancock roared, then she did a spin kick that sent him flying into a building. With Mei. Naruto-kun, I told she was still angry, Mei said as she turned towards Naruto direction. Never take your eyes off an opponent, Pleasant Pikakiji said. Thanks, I'll remember that, Malter's Mei replied as the two birds collided. With Ryo. I did not abandon my friends. Ryo had finally gone full out, and that was what Hawkeye wanted. Ryo's katanas was a blur of speed. It swung in all directions, side, up, another up to a sideways and diagonal left, and Hawkeye had trouble dodging it all, but he was thankful his sword was always there to block and his arm able to back up the strength of the opponent to a complete stop. Ryo had backed Hawkeye up a few hundred steps as they dances in sparks and blades. Ryo was getting tired of this and twisted, using momentum and his fierce power to strike Hawkeye, but Hawkeye was ready, twisted to the side, and stood stern. His blade blocked both of Ryo's easily, and this disorientated Ryo very much so, where he didn't move until he set foot onto the ground. He moved just as he could because Hawkeye used Ryo's strength against him, ducking down and rushing the pirate. Hawkeye was behind Ryo now, his blade along his arm, pointing to Ryo. A blood splattered along the ground between them, and they turned, still in stance. Ryo grunted slightly as she saw a cut on his side. Hawkeye took this opportunity of a standstill with Ryo to mock him a little more. You didn't care for your friend, you let them die while you were hiding, Hawkeye said. Ryo ignored his pain as once again, his anger rose, and his attack continued. Hawkeye blocked the first blow easily. My friends died because they were protecting me. Ryo's second strike was faster, but still easily blocked. Sai pushed me out of the way and took the hit. The third strike made Hawkeye lose his stance for a second as his arm vibrated from the third blow, leaving a slight sting. Flare Storm, Ryo shouted as he swung his sword's fire came out of it, but Hawkeye dodges it like it was nothing. No wonder you friends die with weak attack like that, Hawkeye said. That's it, Wild F. Ryo didn't get to finish as he heard behind World's Strongest slash hit him, sending him across the ice. As he hit the ground, as his eyes begun to close, he saw Hawkeye running towards him. Flashback. Your training has finally come to an end. I have nothing left to teach you, so go out into the world and fulfill your destiny, said Ancient One. Aye sensei, they all replied as they leave the temple. So Ryo, what are going to do now, Sai asked the unofficial leader. We are going to travel around the world helping people along the way, Ryo said. What are we, Navy or pirate? Kento asked. Neither, we are neutral until we find out which side to choose, Ryo replied. So what is our group call? Rowan asked. Heroine Warriors, Ryo replied. I like it, Sage said. Bird Island, North Blue. Heroine warriors had just arrived on the island and noticed that the place was almost deserted. Then they heard a screaming coming from the bar, so they went to check it out. As they arrived, they saw some people destroying the bar and trying to rape some woman. What is going on here? Ryo asked as the men looked at him. Mind your own business, kid, said the man and turned back to what he was doing when he felt a sword to his neck. It's my business when you are trying to rape a woman, Ryo said as he presses down on the sword to draw some blood. Let him go, kid, or you have to face the Iron Pirate, said a next pirate. Bring it on, I'm hitching for a fight, shouted Kento as an orange Amara appeared on him. Kento spins the bow over his head, then aims one end towards the ground and causes a massive earthquake. Iron rock crusher gan Tessai as the ground started to shake and brought the roof down on the other pirates. These guys are monsters, I'm going to tell the boss, said a pirate as he ran away. Kento was about to chase after him when Ryo stopped him. Let him go, Ryo said. Why? Kento asked. Because we don't know how many of them are there, and because of your stunt they already that something is going on, Rowan replied. What did the pirates do to village? Ryo asked the girl. They kill of most of the villagers and capture some, just because the villagers won't help them mine for the gold in the mountains, so they turn them into slaves. I'm the last one that remain. She said. What is your name, miss? Sage asked. It's Kimiko, she replied. Kimiko, we are going to help this village, Ryo said. Thank you, what your names? Kimiko asked as they introduced themselves to her. What is the plan? Sai asked Rowan, who was about to answer when they heard gunshots coming toward the building. Ryo grabbed Kimiko and jumped out of the building. When they reached on the outside, pirates surrounded them. How dare you attack my crew, said a man about 9 feet tall, muscular body, black hair and a ponytail, and his jaw and teeth was made of iron. Who the hell are you? Kento shouted. How dare you not know Iron Jaw John, the pirate that is worth 22 million berries, said a pirate. Never heard of him, said Ryo as the pirates glared at them. It doesn't matter because you will be dead for attacking my pirates, John said as he orders his men to attack. As Sage stepped forward, the pirates charged at them. Suddenly a bright light covered Sage. As the light disappeared, he was in green armor with his Korin Ken. Raikozie and Thunderbolt cut, Sage shouted as he swung the sword down, a slash of lighting from the blade, killing the pirates. Suddenly Iron Jaws was behind him. Iron Jaw shouted John, ready to bite down on Sage when 2 twin katanas block his attack. John started to put more force in it, trying to break the swords. Shit, what is this sword made of? My teeth can crush anything, John. Then Zan, flare up now, Ryo said as the fire covered his sword, burning John alive, leaving only his iron jaw. That was easy, Kento said. Let's go rescue the villagers, Ryo said. 10 minutes later. Heroine warriors had rescued the villagers, so the villager threw them a party for saving them where all dance and enjoy themselves. They left the next day to continue their journey. 3 days later. Words had gotten around about the mysterious heroes that had saved Bird Island and beat a 22 million berry Esperate and his crew like it was nothing. The news spread like wildfire. Navy base dog, North Blue. Shit, more pirates, that's all we need, growl a Navy solider as he crushed up the newspaper with the Heroine warriors' photos on it. But Captain Kib of the villagers said that they weren't pirates, a Navy solider replied as he looks at his captain. He has several physical traits more akin to animals. He has messy brown hair, sharp black eyes with vertical slit-like pupils, pronounced canine teeth, and nails that he can change into claws. He also has the distinct red fang markings on his cheeks. That's what they all say until they show their true color, Kiba said. But Captain, what if you are wrong, said the Navy solider. Suddenly Kiba's hand was on his throat, then Kiba hoisted him into the air. I am never wrong, Kiba growled as he squeezes harder. Why yes, see, Captain, said the Navy solider as he begun to lose consciousness. Now write up the wanted poster, Kiba said as he threw the solider to the ground. Wanted pirates dead alive. Ryo of the WILDFIRE 24 million berries. Sai of the Torrent Suko no SHIN 15 million berries. Tento of Harder Congo no SHU 21 million berries. Sage of the Halo, Korin no SEIJI 22 million berries. Rowan of the Stratatenku no TOMA 15 million berries. Dog Island, North Blue. 3 months later. It seems the Navy thinks we are pirates, I said. But we are not. I thought we made that clear by saving those people, Kento replied. It must be a mistake, we will sort this out when we reach town. I heard that a Navy base is in the town, Ryo said as they walked through the town. They heard Please don't take my daughter, we don't have any money to give you, we gave Captain Kiba everything yesterday. They rushed towards the voice. They entered a red house and saw some Navy soldiers beating up an old man while they made his daughter watch. Captain wants more money, he told us if anybody don't have anything to give us we will take their family member, especially their daughter if they are hot, said a Navy soldier. But how can we get more money when he is letting the pirates and his own soldiers taking all of our goods and not paying for it, shouted the man as they hit him again. Watch your tongue, old man, said the Navy soldier that hit the man. The man was about to hit the old man again when Shinku arrow shockwave, said Rowan as the arrow pierces his chest and blow the rest of the soldiers away. They got up and saw their attackers. It's the wildfire pirates, shouted the soldiers as they ran away with their tails between their legs. We are not pirates, shouted Kento in anger. The wildfire pirates, Ryo replied with a question mark over his head. That it, we must hurry to the Navy base and set the record straight, Sai said. Thank you for saving me and my daughter, but I wouldn't if I were you, the old man as he got off the ground as his daughter rushed over to help him. Why is that? Sage asked. Because Captain Kiba is in charge of the base, he is known to be Kiba, short-tempered and impulsive, so he won't believe anything you say, replied the old man. We will take our chances. So why were they attacking you? Ryo asked. Oh, my name is Ken and this is my daughter Ten. The Navy was sent here to protect us from the pirates, but Captain Kiba is working with them instead. They paid him some gold and he let them do what they want, then he sent his men to finish what we have left, Ken said with great venom. What about his commanding officers, do they know? Sai asked. If they do then they don't seem to care because we have sending complaint and not getting any, replied Ten. We have to help them, Ryo replied with a smile. If we do we will be labeled as pirates, Rowan said. We are already labeled as pirates, Sage replied. Sage is right, if they want to call us pirates, then let's show them what the wildfire pirates can do, Ryo shouted as they all transform into their armor, then charged towards the base. Appa, do you think they will survive? Ten asked. I hope so, they are our only chance, Ken replied with a worried look on his face. Navy base. Captain Kiba, the wildfire pirates are coming this way, said a scared Navy soldier. Send the bug pirates after them, Kiba replied with a smirk on his face. Outside the base. As the warriors head for the front door they see bugs covering the sky coming at them. Guys, there are a group of bugs coming towards our, Rowan shouted while they just look at him. Time for the bug zapper, Thunderbolt shouted Sage as he swung core and Ken electrocuted them. They all fell to the ground. Who dare kill my babies? Shouted a man in a cloak that covers his face and wearing a dark glasses as more bugs start to appear covering more of the place. Shit, they have down it now, Captain Shino is mad, said a pirate. Guys, I will handle it, go ahead, Sage said Lighting Strike as the lighting cleared the buggy path allowing his friends to advance. Kiba's office. Captain, they are still coming, shouted a Navy soldier. Send out Akamaru, Kiba growled. Inside the base. The warriors had finally reached inside the base when a giant dog appeared with a tag around his neck marked Akamaru. Damn, that a big ass dog, Rowan said looking up at the dog. The two heads, thank you, Captain, obvious, others thought. Sai and I will deal with the dog, Rowan said. Shinku arrow shockwave, forcing the dog back, letting the other past. With Kiba. Sir, they are still coming, shouted the soldier. But shut up, I know they're coming, Kiba said as he picked up the Den Mushi. Sengoku, the wildfire pirate are attacking my base, I need backup, Kiba shouted. And you handle, Captain? Sengoku asked. A stronger than I thought, said a worried Kiba as he looks at his monitor. But Sage. Giant bug soldier, Shino shouted as the swarm of bugs around him forming a giant bug. Lighting Dragon, Sage shouted as the dragon came out of his sword, electrocuted a giant bug and everybody and destroyed the surrounding area. With Rowan and Sai. The giant charged at them trying to bite them, but they were too quick for him and ran into the next room, which was a dead end. It was way smaller than the first one, the giant dog shouted. Fang will fang as the dog started to spin, there was no way to dodge the attack. Shit, there is no time to dodge it, Rowan shouted while Sai just look at him and shake his head. Let our powers combine, JAY 3000. Wonder if anybody can guess what cartoon I got this line from, Sai said as the pulled out his Boshin Kuha arrow shockwave. Toryu HA super wave smasher, as the two attack combine and hit the dog, freezing it in midair, then the dog drop and shattered to pieces. With Kiba. Sir, they just finished defeating all my men, I am the only one left, Kiba shouted. Fine, I will send a ship with Vice Admiral Doberman to help, it will be there in 1 hour, Sengoku replied as he hangs up the snail. 5 minutes. A Navy soldier was sent flying through Kiba's door. So you must be the famous Captain Kiba that I have heard about, Ryo said. So you punks think you can defeat me, Kiba replied with a cocky grin on his face as he shouted Gatsuka as they attacked both Ryo and Kento, who blocked it with their weapon, but it still sent them flying into the ground. Weak fools, I'm top dog around here, Kiba replied Gatsuka. This time Ryo and Kento was ready. Fire Dragon, Ryo shouted as he extends his sword. The dragon attacks Kiba, turning his Gatsuka into a flaming one, but that did not stop Kiba as Ryo dodges the attack by jumping into the air. Fire slash that hit Kiba in his back as he screamed out in pain. Team Kiba growled in pain as he started to change into a pitbull hybrid. Ultimate Gatsuka, he shouted as his attack got faster, attacking both them as they tried to dodge his attack, but they couldn't. If it wasn't for their Amaura, they would have been cut to shreds, but it left cuts all over their bodies. Shit, we have to stop him, Iron Rock Crusher, Kento shouted as he got up. He spins the iron bow over his head, then aims one end towards the ground and causes a massive earthquake. Kiba tried to attack them, but the floor underneath his feet gave, forcing him to stop. Big mistake, because Ryo was coming behind him. Fire spin, Ryo said, launching the attack from his Rekaken, Kiba burning him alive. Kento, bring this place down, Ryo roared. I Super Iron Rock Crusher, Kento said as the whole place began to shake and started to fall as Ryo and Kento ran out. They reach out in time to see the whole base coming down. As it came down, the people began to cheer. Later. Thank you Wildfire Pirates for helping us. The mayor was cut off as a cannonball smash into a building, destroying it. Then another one came, forcing all the people in the street. Who in Kami's name is attacking us? Ken asked. Could it be the Navy? Said a scared Ten. No, I don't think they would attack an island just to kill pirates, Sai said as they ran to the port to see the Navy ship shooting cannonball in all direction. Hey, it is the Navy, Rowan said as Kento hit him in his head. Sai, destroy that ship before it cause any more damage, Ryo said. Haicho Ryuha Super Wave Smasher, Sai shouted as he transformed and point Yari. He put all his power into it, creating a shock wave into the sea, sinking the ship. But now let's get out of here, Ryo said as they ran away. 15 minutes later. Vice Admiral Doberman and some of the men that survived came out of the water. Where are the pirates? Doberman shouted. You just missed them, Ten replied with a smile on her face. 10 years later. I want you to deal with the Wildfire Pirates personally and bring back their weapons, and Amaura Sengoku said. The man didn't say anything, he just go up and look at the wanted posters of his target. Wanted pirates dead alive. Ryo of the Wildfire 240 million berries. Sai of the Torrent Suko no SHIN 155 million berries. Kento of Harder Congo no SHU 154 million berries. Sage of the Halo, Korin no SEIJI 142 million berries. Rowan of the Stratatenku no TOMA 146 million berries. A week later. The Wildfire Pirates was sailing when they saw a small boat that is shaped like a coffin coming towards them. The man in the ship jump out of it and land on their ship. He is a pale-skinned man. He has a pendant around his neck and a black claymore, known as the world's strongest sword. Both weapons bear a resemblance to the Christian cross. Titaka and no M Minku shouted a scared Kento. Hawkeye just looks at them with his normal emotionless face. By order of the fleet admiral, I am here to kill the Wildfire Pirates, Hawkeye said. We weren't pirates, the Navy turned us into pirates, Ryo shouted as he gritted his teeth. It doesn't matter, I have my orders, Hawkeye replied as he reached over his back and unsheath his sword. They all immediately transform. Shit, we have no choice, as he took out his Yari Super Wave Smasher as the water from the sea and attack Hawkeye. He dodges and was in Sai guard, ready to take him down when he heard. Arrow shock Wava forcing him 2 away from Sai. As he landed he heard. Thunderbolt cute as the lightning rushed towards him, which he blocks with his sword. Ryo appeared behind him with his twin sword, but Hawkeye sidestep him, deliver a bone-crushing hit to his head, sending him rocketing back through the mast, into ship. He was hit with the back of the sword. The last thing Ryo saw was Hawkeye charging at him when Sai pushed him out of the way and took the sword through the chest for him. 13 minutes later. Ryo woke to see Sage with a black sword in his stomach. The sword retracts, and Sage fell to the ground. Ryo screams out as he saw all his friends on the ground. You will pay for this, Ryo roared as fire leaked out of his swords and surrounded him, setting the ship on fire. He charged at Hawkeye, who dodges him as swung the sword at Ryo, but he blocked him. This continued for 5 minutes. Ryo in his rage just started swung his sword like a man pauses, but Hawkeye just stood there and blocked them, all of them. Then Ryo jumped into the air. IU Team Wild Inferno, Ryo shouted as all the fire on the ship got hotter and started going towards Hawkeye, who just stood there and took it. When the fire cleared, there was no sign of Hawkeye, just a hole where the fire was still burning. I finally avenge you guys, Ryo said as he walked over to his friends and put them all in the same place. I sorry guys I let you die, Ryo said as he started to cry. You did not fail us, you tried your best, he was just stronger, Sage said in a weak voice. Sage is right, Rowan said in a weak voice. Yeah, beside you can't rid of us that easily, Kento said in a weak voice. Kento's right, said Sai in a weak voice. You guys, you are alive, Ryo shouted with a smile on his face. For now, but we are dying, I can feel it, Sage replied in a weak voice. No you are not, I'll take all of us to the hospital, Ryo shouted. You can't swim with all of us, and beside you are still injure yourself, we would never make it, Sai replied as he started to cough. You are right, I think that hit broke several of my ribs, Ryo said. Ryo, I want you to cough do something for us, Sage said as he coughed up blood. Anything, Ryo replied. Put our weapons in our hand, Rowan said as Ryo did it without asking why. What now? Ryo asked. Just stand back, Kento replied, then they all started to glow. By the power of virtue we surrender our power, Toryo of the wildfire, they all said. The kanji Forjin righteousness, Shin trust, Rei grace, Kai wisdom and Gai justice appeared on Ryo's forehead, then their weapons all started to turn into energy and shoot into Ryo's body. It took their energies and element with it as their Amauras vanish, leaving Ryo alone in his Amaur, but it wasn't red. Goodbye Ryo, they all said before their eyes closed forever. Ryo was about to cry when a green energy came out from underneath him as it hit him. He screams out when he landed on the ground with blood covering all over his body. Hawkeye came out of the ship and walked towards the downed pirates and looked at them. He realizing that their Amauras and weapons was gone as he looked over to Ryo. The ship exploded. It seems like Ryo's fire had finally reached the cannonball and gunpowder, forcing Hawkeye off the ship. He watches the ship sink to the bottom of the sea. Flash end. No, I can't afford to lose, Ryo said. Hawkeye came closer. Suddenly a bright appear over Ryo, blinding everybody for a while, as it clear Ryo was not in his red Amaur, was in a white one. He had two different the swords in his hands. He swung it, a massive stream of fire came out of it, destroying anything in its path. Hawkeye jumped into the air, but Ryo was waiting for him up there. Hawkeye was sent flying into a group of Navy, knocking them all out. Thanks for watching this video. If you really enjoy this video, like, subscribe, and comment down below, and turn on that bell notification. Don't forget to support and follow JAY3000 for writing that awesome fanfic, and also make sure to comment on this story, link in the description. See you in the next video. Goodbye.